What's good, Glam Squad? It's your girl Talent Love, and I'm coming back at you again with another video. If this is your first time watching me, then welcome, hello, welcome to the channel. Like I said, my name is Talent Love, or Portia Mercedes, whatever you want to call me, and I'm just happy to have you here. So first of all, before we even get into it with anything, I want you to go ahead and like the video, because I already know you clicked on it because of the title, okay? And I promise I shall not disappoint, okay? Number two, after you like it, I want you to go ahead and subscribe. If you're not subscribed, like, what are you doing? I'm just saying, I promise you're just gonna keep coming back for more. Like, just click through the videos and it explains itself on why you should subscribe. And number three, hit that notification bell that's down. I think we established the last video, or the video before last, it was on this side. Click that bell and click all notifications, okay? You want to get notified of all the notifications of anytime I post. But anyway, y'all, so it's 4 a.m. and I was determined to post a video for y'all because, you know what I say, I've been on the road. I've been dropping a video every single day for y'all, every single day. I mean, I just need a pat on the back. I'm proud of myself because I'm determined to get monetized. I want to grow the Glam Squad. And yeah, so if you're returning, welcome back, Glam Squad. I love you so much. Y'all peep my DDG merch. This is concert merch, so I feel exclusive because it was only at the concert. It's got XX on the side. I showed it to y'all in my Philly vlog, and I showed y'all the back in the Philly vlog or whatever, but I'm feeling really cute. I'm loving my makeup or whatever, and I'm gonna puff with my pretty perfect edges. You already know how to get them. They're in the description below. One of my good girlfriends actually makes it. Like, what? Are you kidding me? And it's the only thing that doesn't itch or irritate my edges. Anyway, this is already a 2-minute long intro, so let's get right into the video. So this is going to be the story time about when my ex-boyfriend, he like pooped in my bed. Like, there's poop in my bed, okay? So you might be wondering, like, why are you telling us this story? You know, why do you tell story times on your exes? But let's be real, that y'all like the tea, okay? Y'all like the tea. Y'all like mukbangs. That's what y'all like here on this channel. Y'all like it more than beauty. Y'all like it more than anything. And as far as I'm concerned, any dude that does me dirty as far as violating me, like, you better hope you ain't doing nothing trifling in a relationship, because it's all fair game at this point. Like, if you don't want a story time done about you, don't violate me, period. Like, freedom of speech. Anyway, so I'm not gonna be using his name. We're gonna call him Salt and Pepper because he has gray specks of hair. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get into the preface of everything, whatever. Now, I'm going to be doing a ton of different story times on all of my serious, well, all of them except for one. There's only one that I respect enough not to violate. But everybody else, like, it's going to be different story times, and they're going to keep the same names throughout the story time, so you'll be able to keep up. So let's get into it with Salt and Pepper, okay? So how I met Salt and Pepper was we both did music, and I was like into singing and dancing or whatever, and Salt and Pepper made beats, okay? So we had like linked through a mutual friend at the time, and she and I are not like cool like that anymore. Like, we had a falling out or whatever, but I'd like to say that was like 80 years ago. I'd like to say, like, if I saw her on the street, it would be no issue. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's how we met. So I was actually with a production company or whatever, and we were like riding home on the bus that day. I don't know why I was riding home from rehearsal on the bus that day, because I either always rode with my cousins or my male best friends. Like, I hung out with 2 different sets of guys, and I always had a ride. No, I don't know how, but I always kept the ride no matter what. But for whatever reason, I was on the bus that day. And yeah, so we were like just vibing or whatever, and I feel like I had crossed him before, but before that, but I didn't like pay him any mind. Like, not in a bad way, I didn't pay him no mind or whatever. So whatever. So like time goes by or whatever, and he hits me up and he's like, I'm starting this group or whatever, like, and It's gonna have like producers, rappers, singers, like all in one, like videographers, whatever. So you would be like on the label, and whatever you need, you know what I'm saying, you would just come to somebody on the label for it. And I was like, you know what, okay, let me just, he was like, you know, let's go to Denny's and we're gonna do a meeting or whatever, and we're all gonna meet up and we're all gonna talk about it. So I was like, all right, cool, let's do that. So I was like, let me just see. So I had a boyfriend at the time, actually. So oh my gosh, I didn't remember none of this stuff until I started talking about it. But okay, anyway, so I had a boyfriend at the time, and I met up with them or whatever, and it was like a cool vibe or whatever, and I was like, okay, whatever. So the dude was like, you know, like rebel type, tattoos, skateboard, like that or whatever. So I was like, you know what, like, you know how us girls be, like, we be like, oh, I ain't never had a skater before, let me try that. Or you'll be like, I don't know, I ain't never had a dude all the way tatted up, let me try that. Or I ain't never had a dude that was a biker, let me try that, whatever. So anyway, the dude I was dating was in a car club or whatever. And, you know, like I said, you know, Salt-N-Pepa had his whole vibe going or whatever. So I was just like, all right, cool. So we met up, whatever, we did what we did. Like, everybody talked, we went on home that day. Scoopy whoop whoop whoop, fast forward maybe like 4 months, don't quote me. Maybe like 4 or 5 months, I had broke up with my current boyfriend at the time, because like I had found out that he was like talking to another girl. Now, to my knowledge, he didn't like do anything with her, but he was talking to another girl. And the way I got him, y'all, I was bound to lose him anyway, like karma. That's a whole nother story. But the way I got him, I was bound to lose him anyway, but whatever. So we didn't work out. So anyway, I'm at Salt-N-Pepa's house one night, and we're just like working on music, and then afterwards we're talking and vibing. Salt-N-Pepa done cracked the beer or whatever. We're just talking, you know, outside on the porch or whatever at his house. And like we're just like getting real deep, and somehow we just got to talking about my situation. And I was just like, I can't remember exactly what I said, but he said something, I was saying something to him, and I was just like, I was saying how like either I was over the guy, or I didn't love him no more, or I was like hurt. I can't remember what I said. I really can't. If it comes back to me before I post this video, I'll let y'all know, but I really don't know what I was saying. But yeah, so me and Salt-N-Pepa had formed this bond at this time or whatever, and I don't know what it was. It was something heartfelt that I was like genuinely trying to tell him about like my past situation. And he just looked at me like he didn't believe me. And I just, for whatever reason, I just started busting out crying, like, because I was just so over like my last situation. Like I was like, really, like I did all this stuff, like, oh, my last situation was the guy from my last story time that I told y'all, who I had put out or whatever for, you know, and dropped all his stuff at his house. So if you're not caught up, go ahead and watch my Chipotle mukbang where I talk about how I dropped all his stuff at his job, not his house, his job. So yeah, anyway, so I started crying or whatever, and he was just looking like, oh my gosh, she's so serious. Like, so I think it kind of like turned into the damsel in distress thing, and I wasn't doing it. Like, I know that it's a popular thing for females to like be like, save me and do that, but I really was like in my feelings, and I always vibe with boys better. And there was only like one other time I dated my friend, and like I said in my Scoop Hot Tumana video, I'll never do that again. I'll never date a best friend. So anyway, I was like crying, and I guess he like kind of felt for me, whatever. So like we just kept doing music together. I kept going to his house to record, and like one day I just kind of got this vibe that he liked me, and I was like, I mean, he kind of cute. Like, he looks similar to Chris Brown, like mixed with T.I. just a little bit to me. And I was like, he's kind of cute or whatever. And so like one night he just texted me and was just kind of like, you know, I like you, but I don't really want to mess up our friendship. And in my mind I was like, what friendship? Like, what? So I was just looking at it, and I was like, well, okay, we could just take our time. So anyway, you just really have to be careful of people who don't really care about themselves. Like, it's really rare. Okay, so there's people that really absolutely don't care about themselves, and then there's people who care about themselves too much, as far as like the narcissists go, can't stop looking in the mirror or whatever. You want to find someone who's like, who cares about themselves and their appearance, but not a narcissist. Anyway, I'm not trying to make this super long. So anyway, when we were getting together, like, he was just overly excited all the time. And okay, I'm back. So my whole setup had failed. But anyway, so when we were together, like, he was just overly excited over the time, like all the time, but not in a way where it's like, oh my gosh, it's a new love. It was just kind of like immature now that I look back on it. And I just should have seen the signs right there, but it's just really hard to see signs like that when the person's like putting on their front for the beginning or whatever. And one thing I'll say about me is I'm like literally the same me from the very beginning to the end. Like, in the beginning, like, I'm so honestly myself that guys really think I'm like an a-hole. Like, seriously, like, certain stuff I'll say to the guys from day one, from the jump. My friends are like, you didn't say that, did you? And I'm like, was that rude? Like, I'd rather be rude and honest than be fake and polite. I feel like that's for strangers, not if you're really trying to get to know me. Like, you need to know what you're dealing with. And I don't want to fake like I'm somebody that I'm not, and then I have to keep up that facade. We're not doing that. I'm not doing that. That's too much work. I'm not. So anyway, like, I don't know. So everything in the beginning was okay. So he would like go to work or whatever from my house, and we had like started spending the night with each other or whatever, like super fast, because when it first happened, it was like in a group setting over a weekend or whatever with like him and a ton of like friends. It was a ton of our friends, to the point where I only remember like one other person there. I don't even remember. I think my cousin was there, my best friend was there. Like, it was a bunch of people I don't remember. So anyway, like, after the dust settled, because it was like kind of around our homecoming weekend or whatever, yeah, so but I'm not bison, I'm not you know, but I'm fond of the homecomings, and this month happens to be October, but this year I'm gonna miss it. So anyway, so I don't know, I started realizing like he was like overly excited in an immature, childish way, to the point where like one day, I think we was maybe like 2 months in, he was just like, I love you. And I was like, I don't feel the same. And I was like, but thank you though. And he was just like, okay, well, anyway, how we ended up saying how I ended up saying it was like, my stuff has to come natural. I'm not gonna like really force and I love you. Like, I can't do that. Like, I'll be fond of you, but if I don't love you, I don't love you. But I was doing my hair one day in the mirror, and he was about to leave for work, and I was like, he was like, all right, I'm heading out. And I swear to y'all, it was so involuntary. I was brushing my hair, and I was like, all right, I love you. I was like, all right, love you. And I was like, oh my God. And he like peeked in the bathroom and was like, you what? And I was like, I guess I love you. So like, you know, my heart just kind of told on me. So anyway, we had got into the relationship or whatever. We gonna just skip a whole bunch of stuff, because those are story times for another time. Anyway, so we're getting deep into the relationship. He starts losing jobs repeatedly. Like, in the course of a 4.5-year relationship, he lost like 6 or 7 jobs. I even helped him get one where we worked together. And like, it was just always an issue, like always an issue. The one that I helped him get, that was like kind of my fault, but kind of his fault. Why? He could not keep a job to save his life. Like, he started sleeping in or whatever, and I should have peeped the red flags in the beginning. I saw him like smoking a cigarette, and I was like, oh, you smoke cigarettes? And he was like, oh, I'm trying to quit. And I was just like, okay. So then he started saying stuff later on in our relationship, like, I'm trying to quit for you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, back then I was like, oh, that's so cute. Like, this was like 7 years ago, 6, 7. It was a long time ago, y'all. So I was like young, I'm 30 now. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. He wants to stop for me. And, you know, and now obviously I know, like, you can't, no one can stop doing something like that for somebody. You have to stop for yourself. Like, you know, it can happen, but it's very rare. So you can be inspired, but like, whatever. So he would say stuff like that. And I was just like, and I should have just picked up that he was doing stuff like that to keep me, but he really had no intention of doing it or whatever. And then, yeah, so he had a sickness that's not like, it's not deadly, but he had a sickness. So it was just something you don't want to do. You don't want to smoke or drink with what he has. So I'm just like, okay. So after losing jobs repeatedly, he started to be a thief, y'all. I started like seeing him come. He'll be like telling me he ain't got no money, like maybe an hour before that or a couple hours before that early in the day, and then he'll come to my house with like stuff or whatever. And he lived with his mom, which should have been a red flag, and I lived by myself in a studio apartment. And yeah, so I was just, I feel like it's like, not to be double standard, but to be double standard. A man should not be dating a woman or courting a woman if he's living with his mama and he can't afford to live on his own. Like, that's a no for me, dog. And back then, obviously, like, I was just like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, rose-colored glasses. That's what they used to call me. They used to, everybody, they'd be like, oh, you live in La La Land, must be nice. Anyway, so he would come over and he would have things in his bag that I know daggone well he didn't buy. And then one day I just kind of like called him out on it. So to add to the list of irresponsibilities, that was another one. So like the jobs, and then you're a thief. And then so he started like drinking heavily, like always had a 40, always had a beer, always had something. And I was just like, yo, like, this is more than just that I'm chilling on a Friday, Saturday night, and I just want to kick back and enjoy myself because I had a hard working week. No, you keep losing your job sleeping in. He would do it on the weekdays, sleep in, and then I would call and be like, yo, did you wake up on time? Which I should have never done because it's not my business. Like, I should have left then and there. But I just, you know, was like, I was his friend first, so of course, you know, I checked, and I was just way too overly committed in that relationship because we were friends first. And I feel like a marriage should be like that, but not no relationship. Like, it should never be like that in a relationship. No, like, that's when you got years in and a commitment to God. You do stuff like that with that. So anyway, I just felt like, ugh, it was just a lot of irresponsibility going on and just a lot of immaturity. And I just felt like he just didn't really care about himself or his life with all the drinking and the cigarettes. So then, y'all, he started really drinking himself into like a hole. And I was like, yo, I think you need therapy. And he was just like, nah, I'm not crazy. Like, he was the type of person that'd be like, everybody else crazy, but not him. And I was like, okay. So then I started to realize we had a problem. So the first thing that happened, y'all, was I was like in the house one day, and I was like, I think he went to the bathroom, and I was going through my closet, and I found a pair of boxers with dried up poop in the seat of the boxers thrown in my closet. Like, you're sick. Are you kidding me? So I just like called him out on it, and I was like, what is this? And he was like, those are mine. And I was like, no other dude has been over here. Like, whose else are they? Come on. Like, come on. My little brothers, like, they were tiny at the time. Like they were tiny. Those were grown man boxes. And he was just like, wow, oof, I'm sorry. I just don't remember. Like, oof, like, my bad. I don't remember. And I was just like, you're bad. And y'all, I should have left then, but I was just trying to understand because I had saw like the stuff that was going on with him, and you know, he had a lot of issues with his mama and all kinds of stuff. And I just started to realize he had mommy issues, even though he lived with her, like, and issues with the females in his family. He will always talk about them, call them B words and stuff like that. Like, his, like, people that I had met in his family that I became fond of. And I would be like, to the point where I would be like, don't talk about her like that. Are you kidding me? Like, but he just didn't like them because they were holding him accountable. But you don't want to date a dude that got some mommy issues, because if he's sitting there calling his own mama, who like helps provide for him, and his female family members who help him when they need the B word, like, what you think gonna happen to you next? Or at some point, you know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't get too far off disrespectful, but he did try to violate it one time. So You know what I'm saying? I had to anyway. So the first thing was the boxes in the closet, y'all. I had never been so disgusted in my whole entire life, to be quite honest with you. Actually, yeah, that was number one on the list of being disgusted, because that's bad. Like, could you imagine going to a dude's house and putting your, like, pooping in your panties and throwing them in their closet? Like, no, sis, ew. So the second thing that happened was, like, he had, like, used the bathroom, like, did number 2, and he was, like, naked or whatever, and I was, like, half asleep. Well, he got back in the bed naked, and I was just like, I smell poop. Like, I just kept smelling it. I kept smelling it. At this point, he just said, an itty nigga. Like, I'm at this point, that's what he is. So I'm like, what is that smell? And I keep smelling it, and I'm like getting so frustrated that I can't even sleep. And I just woke him up because he was like trying to cuddle up, and I'm like, yo, what is that? And I like turn on the lights, and I ripped the bed apart and everything, and on my white sheets, y'all, on my white sheets is a chocolate skid mark. And I was just like, yo, you didn't like wipe properly? And he was just like, oh, I guess I didn't. And I'm just like, this has got to stop. Like, I can't. My pet peeve is a guy that won't like take care of himself. Like, hygiene, I can't do bad hygiene. I can't. Your breath can't stink. Like, your body can't be funky. Your arms can't be pumping. You can't be like on me stinking. Like, I don't like that. You need to smell like soap and a hot shower, like you came out of it. Like, I used to have to wake him up after work. He would work, get hot and sweaty, and then like lay back on my bed with his like work clothes on, and I would be like having to run the water and like be like, hey, the shower's running. Like, go get up, go ahead, the shower's running. Like, you're grown. I think he was like 23 at the time, or 22. Like, no, ew, because he was a little older than me, just by a little bit though. So anyway, that was the second thing. So the third thing, strike number 3, was he started having like these random burps, like where they smell so bad I thought that he was farting. So we were like hanging out with friends, and he was just burping and a burping and a burping, and we was like, ew, yo, he farted. Like, and then like it dawned on me that it was a burp when we were doing something, and I was like, that was your burp? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, we all thought you were farting. And he was like, I know, that's why I ain't say nothing. And I'm like, what the heck is going on with your insides? Mind you, I told you he smokes and drinks. Like, what's going on with your insides that your burps are smelling disgusting like that? Like, ew. Ew. I don't want to kiss you and your burps smell like fart. Like, no sorry, Bob. So here was the final straw. Like, this was all this stuff was like close together, like at the end. And you know, y'all, ladies, y'all know, when you break up with somebody and you don't cry, you are done, okay? And I got really done. So I don't know, like the Lord just started calling me or whatever. He started calling on me, and I just was so broken from like dealing with like nonsense all around, not like just with men, like all around. And I just felt the Lord calling me, and I was like, you know what? I don't have much and I'm broken, but I'm gonna give it all to the Lord. And I was determined to shed anything I had to get to God. So I had never got baptized before. I got saved when I was 6. Like, I always been in love with God. Always. Nobody could tell me nothing about God, period. Like, I might fall sometimes, but I'm a Jesus girl, period. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get baptized. And like I said, I felt the calling. So on the day of my baptism, I was trying to decide if I was gonna go celebrate or not. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to, you know, have a talk with him, because we've been in a long-term relationship, and see how it goes. But in my mind, like, I was just really done with him at the time, because he had just done so much stuff. I was just done. So anyway, I was sitting at church right after my baptism. And actually, okay, so I get baptized, right? In one place. And then I go home and we have to I had to change to go to the service because they do a service dedicated to you after your baptism. So right in between the two, my hair was still, this one I had short curls. When I just went natural, it was like here. My hair was like, no, it was like here. Yeah, my hair was like wet with holy water, and he was like trying to sleep with me in between the service. And I was just like, yo, what about the respect of God? Like, seriously. And then I told him, you know, I've been meaning we need to have this conversation, period, because I wanted to, I know that when you come up from the water, you're brand new in Christ, but certain things still take work. Like, you're not a brand new person. Like, you still have to deal with your flesh. It's just you're committed to deal with it in a different way, the best way you know how. So I was willing to talk about it and see how we were gonna like segue into celibacy before marriage, if there was gonna be any marriage, because I wasn't really interested in anyone that couldn't be on the same path as me. And plus, he had showed me a lot about himself in that time that I just really didn't care anymore. But you know, for the sake of the commitment, the relationship, for the commitment that I made in the relationship, I was like, you know, we're gonna talk it out. So when he tried to sleep with me, I was like, yo, I got holy water in my hair, dude. And he just like didn't care. And when I, you know, was like, you know, we have to have an adult conversation about, you know, sex, like we have to. And he just like, y'all, he rolled his eyes like a female, like he would, like that, like he was like, ugh. And I'm like, what? That's what you do to the person that you love, that had your back all this time? And I was like to myself, I said, I'm done. So we got through the service, and while I was in the service, I was sitting next to him and this other guy that had the same name as him. And the other guy had just came from somewhere far away, and he had been gone for a while. And he's akin to someone I know. And I was like, yo, I never knew that, you know, this person existed. And it just was a reminder to me that, like, whoever my husband is, he could be anywhere and come from anywhere. Not saying that that person didn't belong to me, no crush, no nothing. That was when I was sitting in between them, that's what I was thinking. And I'm like, meanwhile, I'm like holding on to this person who clearly does not belong in my future. Like, it's evident. So after service was over, we all ate and whatever, and we had went out, which I think we ate at IHOP this time. Yeah, because we met up at Denny's the first time, and then we ate at IHOP. So when I was like dropping him off home, I just had to like segue myself out of the relationship. And I was like, you really don't seem happy. And he was just like, yeah, I'm not. I was just trying to wait until your baptism was over to break up with you. And then I was like, exactly. So since you're not happy, I think that you should go find happiness somewhere. And y'all, he got out that car, he slammed that door so fast, and I was like, oh, I meant what I said. I guess he didn't mean it. He slammed the door so fast, so hard, y'all. He was so angry. So I was just like, when I went home, I showered because I had to get the pool water out of my hair, actually. So when I showered, y'all, I knew when I left him and I saw him walk away that I really hurt his feelings. I knew that. So I went home and I got in the shower and I cried so bad. But I wasn't crying for the reason you think I was. I wasn't crying because I loved him and I was going to miss him. I was crying because I'm an empath and I felt bad making somebody sad, and I knew that they were gonna, because I felt heartbreak before and I wasn't heartbroken that day, but when he walked away, I knew that he felt heartbreak or whatever. And so like the empath in me, I was like sad, and I said, you know, you get one time to cry about making him sad and that's it, because he's not your responsibility anymore. And I did that. And then I showed up to my friend's house after, and they were like, how do you feel after your baptism? And I was like, single. And they were like, what? And my friends could tell you now, I was like, yeah. They was like, how are you? And I was like, oh, I cried once. And they were like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, I cried because I knew he was sad, not because of me. And then, you know, obviously we tried to be cool, but then he started like talking crap about me because he was so bitter, you guys. Like, he was so bitter. I don't blame him though. And yeah, so like we just couldn't, I just got sick of him. Like he just started to remind me of a female. Like he was like, he gossiped a lot. He told anything you told him, like you could tell him anything. You like, it's a slug on the ground, don't tell anybody, he'd go tell it. Like, I don't like dudes that talk like females. Like, I don't like that. I like a dude that can hold a secret. Even if you're my, like, just my friend, you gotta be able to hold my secret. So anyway, that was the story time about when my ex pooped in my bed, okay? And yeah, so that's that. So there will be sequels to the story, obviously, but yeah, so but you know, I'm gonna split them up because you know we gotta allowance out the story times. I got some good ones. But anyway, you guys, this video is super duper long. I know it is. And so yeah, I'm gonna let you go. Until next time, I am signing out. I love you guys so much, Glam Squad. Until next time, be fresh and be fierce.